BRONXNET. Your voice, your views, your vision.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Raul Geraldo, and I am with Citibank's Commercial Business Banking Group here in Bronx County. Thank you, thank you. I'm also the chairman of the board for the Business Initiative Corporation of New York, also known as BIG. First, I'd like to welcome you to the 12th annual Bronx Business Bankers Breakfast here in Bronx County. So thank you for coming and welcome. Secondly, what I'd like to do is to thank our sponsors, without whom today's event would not be possible. At the diamond level, we have a TD Bank. At the platinum level, we have Capital One Bank, Citibank, HSBC Bank, and NYBDC. At the emerald level, we have Wright Check, David's Check Spring. At the gold level, we have Con Edison and JP Morgan Chase. At the silver level, we have Hudson Valley Bank. At the bronze level, we have Apple Bank, Carver Bank, Check Spring Bank, Cross County FSB, Immigrant Savings Bank, Monroe College, Ponce de Leon FSB, Signature Bank, and Wells Fargo. Secondly, I'd like to thank all of you for being here and in your own way being sponsors of this Bankers Breakfast. We have roughly 400 people that registered and paid to be at this morning's event. And that really speaks to your level of commitment. Thank you. Almost 400 folks registered, and that really speaks to your level of commitment and involvement in making sure that BIG is not only successful now, but continues to be successful in the future and continue to finance businesses in Bronx County. So thank you for your support. Next, I'd like to acknowledge Mr. Michael Gill. Michael, would you please stand up? Michael was the former chairman of the Business Initiative Corporation of New York for some 10, 12 years. Right. So on behalf of BIG, we want to take this opportunity to publicly thank you for your support and your leadership in making BIG the organization that it is today. So thank you. And is Ray Salaberios here? No? Ray? Okay. Well, Ray is the former president of the BOEDC and also the former president of BIG. And we also want to publicly thank him for his support and leadership throughout the last few years. With that, I'd like to next introduce you to Ms. Sarah Sanabria Montserrat from BOEDC, who's going to sing the national anthem for us. Sarah?
Good morning. Please join me in the national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave? Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Okay, folks, we're not done. Okay, folks, moving on. Before I introduce our next speaker, I would be remiss if I didn't say a few words about BIC and what our mission statement is. As you may know, BIC was approved by the United States Small Business Administration to be a certified development company back in 1997. BIC is sponsored by the Bronx Overall Economic Development Corporation, or BOEDC. BOEDC is the economic development consultant to Bronx Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr. and the administrator of the Bronx Empowerment Zone. BIC works with the SBA and all private lenders to provide financing to small businesses throughout the state, but focuses its marketing efforts in Bronx County. BIC funds can be used to purchase land, building, new construction, equipment, and soft costs associated with the project. BIC can lend up to $1.5 million. If the business is in an economically deprived area, it can lend up to $2 million. And for a while now, BIC has been able to lend up to $4 million to manufacturers and businesses that are reducing their energy consumption by 10%. BIC offers 10 and 20-year terms at below market rates. Collateral on the loans can be the equipment and/or first or second mortgage. Now, BIC depends on New York City banks like Citi and the sponsors here today to make referrals to BIC for SBA transactions, and also to use the services that the BOEDC has to offer to Bronx-based businesses. Our challenge for the bankers in the room is not only to continue to refer transactions to BIC, but also to increase the number of referrals to BIC going forward. With that, I'd like to introduce our next speaker, who is Marlene Cintron. Marlene is the current president of the BOEDC, as well as the president of BIC. So I'm just going to read a short bio, so please bear with me. No bio? Okay. Well, with that, I'd like to introduce our borough president.
Thank you. I will not go into my remarks at this moment, but first of all, let me just thank everyone, and I'll do that formally in my remarks. Well, we've been joined by someone who, in government and in politics, I consider a hero of mine, and someone that all of us, the 19 million residents of the state of New York, are proud to call him our senior state senator. He's been fighting for not only every corner of this great state and the nation, but he always finds time to fight for the good causes of God's country right here in the Bronx. He's an individual who pushed for one of our very own, Sonia Sotomayor, to serve in the Supreme Court Justice. And the U.S. Senator, he's incredible because you'll see him on CNN and all on the Sunday morning talk shows, and he'll be speaking about foreign relations, and he'll speak about the Middle East, and then you'll see him helping somebody in another state in their political campaign, all the while he's running his own political campaign. And just every now and then at the same time, he'll come to us here in the Bronx and fight for small businesses and fight to clean up our environment. And you may even see him every now and then riding his bike in the streets of the Bronx. Ladies and gentlemen, a great champion for the state of New York, a great leader in the U.S. Senate, the third most powerful individual in the U.S. Senate, our senior state senator, U.S. Senator, Chuck Schumer.
Well, thank you, Presidente. And it is great to be here with all of you. I thank you for the opportunity to address you at the beginning of Bronx Week. First, I want to say that we are blessed in the Bronx to have great leadership. And our great friend Ruben Diaz Jr. has done an incredible job in the short time he's been in. The Bronx is bustling in many, many different areas, and I think he deserves our thanks and congratulations and continued support. I also want to thank our Democratic leader, who has done an amazing job. When you can bring all the various factions in any part of New York City together in peaceful harmony, you are, as the scriptures say, a peacemaker. And Carl Hastie is a great peacemaker and a great Democratic leader, and I want to thank him as well. Now, it is true I love to come to the Bronx and always help the Bronx. I'll let all of you know, even though I'm from Brooklyn, I always was a Yankee fan. And the reason, can I tell a little story? Do we have a second? Okay, this is actually why I hate the Red Sox, but it shows that I'm a Yankee fan. So I was born in 1950. The Brooklyn Dodgers left when I was 6 years old. So it was a little too young to form your allegiances. The Mets didn't even come in till I was 13. For those of you my age, baseball was everything. We played baseball morning, noon, and night. When the Little League game, I was in the Joe Torre Little League, both a Yankee and a Met, so that's good. When the Little League games were rained out, we were heartbroken. We just played till dark. We had a great time. And, you know, I would be able to get on, it was then the D train at Sheepshead Bay. We didn't have much money. For 15 cents, the D train went right up to Jerome Avenue and pay 35 cents for the bleachers. Couldn't afford any food, so, you know, we'd pack a cheese sandwich or something, and we would have a great day. And the first ball I caught, you know, ball into was from Hector Lopez. Remember him? Yep. The second was from Minnie Minoso. You don't remember any of these people. Oh, well. Minnie Minoso didn't play for the Yankees. He was visiting from the Cleveland Indians. But I caught two balls. And, you know, we got two balls. Anyway, so here's why I hate the Red Sox. So I had to have a National League team. My dad was brought up in upstate in Utica, New York. My grandfather worked in the paper mills. They had a St. Louis Cardinal farm team. So in the National League, I was St. Louis Cardinal, always Yankees first, but then St. Louis Cardinals. And I went from public schools in Brooklyn, and I got into Harvard. I was a decent basketball player. Our team's motto at Madison High School was, "We may be small, but we're slow." So I get into Harvard, and my third week, it's October, who's playing in the World Series? The Boston Red Sox and the St. Louis Cardinals. It was the first time the Red Sox said, okay. I say, I got to go to the game. I call up Fenway Park. We're all sold out. There's a guy on my floor whose father had on my college dorm floor who had the Coca-Cola route in South Boston. He says, call my father, in his Boston accent. So I do, and Mr. Kearns says, I can get you a ticket for $47, $47. I didn't have 47. By the way, 1967, $47 would probably be the equivalent of $470 today. I was working my way through school. I couldn't. So what I did, because I really wanted to go, is I sold college rings. I couldn't afford them, but to all the rich kids at Harvard, I would sell college rings, and I was a pretty good salesman. I got $1 a ring. And I sold 47 rings. I hated doing it. And after the 47th, I called up Mr. Kearns, and I said, I have $47. He said, come on over. I'll give you the ticket. Okay. So I get the ticket, go to the first game. It's the first game. For those of you who remember, St. Louis had a great fast left fielder named Lou Brock. Lou Brock leads off the whole World Series with a single. Kurt Flood is the center fielder. He hits a double. Brock scores. So there I am. I'm alone, just going by myself at Fenway Park. And I get up and I go, hooray! Somebody throws a beer can full. And for you, my age, there was a day before the beer cans, had pop-tops. You had to use a can opener, a church key, and he had somehow stuck the little jagged edges on the can out rather than in, and he threw it like a football. It hit the back of my head. I was bleeding from the back profusely down the back of my neck. As I needed 8 or 10 stitches, and as I was walking out with the blood dripping down my shirt, escorted by 2 policemen, all the fans, boo. 2 weeks of selling those darn rings, and I saw 2 batters. I hate the Red Sox. Anyway, I am so glad to be here to begin Bronx Week with all of you. Because you know what I believe? Bronx and Brooklyn have a certain thing in common. We have always been a ladder for people. Many people come to both our boroughs and your borough who were not born in America or whose parents were not born in America. And people struggle because they want to have a better life, not only for themselves, but even more importantly for their children. And the good thing about America, for all the barriers and all the troubles and all the difficulties, if you work hard, you can make it. And that's what we're seeing in this room today. We're seeing successful business people. No one gave them a silver spoon in their mouth. No one gave them a business to inherit. People who struggled to create small businesses. My father was a small businessman, not successful. He had a little exterminating business. My sister once sent him a Father's Day card that said, Dad, we're the only family that associates the smell of DDT with love. Because my father would come home from work smelling of all the chemicals. But he would pace the floor Sunday nights at 2 a.m. because he hated going to work Monday morning. It was such a struggle for him. So I know how business people struggle. And that is why, but it's a ladder. And you struggle with that small business, and it brings in a little bit of money, and you can help your children achieve a better life. And that's what the Bronx has always done. Taken people from all over the globe, some stay here for generations, given them opportunity, because in New York we believe in opportunity. They do okay, and then their children sally forth across the rest of the country and do great things for America. I only wish America appreciated the role we in New York and we in the Bronx play, and Brooklyn, to help this country grow. But if you want to help it, it's our obligation to do everything we can. At the local, which I know our borough president is doing, at the state level, and at the federal level. We have to do things to help small businesses. We have to encourage small businesses. And I want to tell you one thing that I've just passed, which came from a suggestion of the Bronx Chamber of Commerce. We have high unemployment, and the economy was really terrible. Now it's beginning to come back a little bit. And so some businesses are saying, oh, I'm getting some orders, I'm getting a little growth, I'm getting a little expansion. Our job is to translate that growth into jobs. So far, the economy hasn't. We grew nationally at 6%, close to 6% in the fourth quarter, but jobs are going up too slowly. So I passed a bill that the President has signed into law with Senator Hatch, bipartisan, Orrin Hatch, a Republican of Utah. And it says, and it's law now, that if you hire a new employee who's been out of work for 60 days, you don't have to pay payroll tax on that employee for the whole year. And if you keep them next year, you get another $1,000, $3,000, or $5,000 off on your taxes. It'll help reduce the unemployed and help people. And the good news about it, it was designed for small business. It's simple. All you have to do is show that the person was unemployed for 60 days by showing 60 days of their unemployment checks, or even if they don't have that, they can just sign an affidavit, notarized, that they did. It's immediate. You get the break right away. It's not that, you know, I know how it is for businesses. They tell you you'll get a tax break a year from April. What good is that to you? This is immediate, and it applies to everybody. So you can hire someone at $30,000 a year, and you'll save over $2,000 on them. You hire someone at $60,000, you'll save over $4,000. You hire someone at $100,000, you'll save over $6,000. It applies to everybody. So I'd urge you to take a look at it. It is now law, and it's not a panacea. If your business isn't getting new orders, you're not going to hire new people. But for businesses that are beginning to see a little bit of light, it makes it a little easier to hire somebody and reduce unemployment. The next thing we're going to try to do in Washington is get some real small business lending out there to help our banks, to make it easier so there's small business lending. We need that. And the other final thing we want to do is get more of that stimulus money out in the economy so that we can start employing people as well. So those are the three of the things we're trying to do in Washington that help you. But in conclusion, I just want to say this. Again, Borough President was nice enough to mention Sonia Sotomayor, who I recommended to the President. And she's a classic example of what we're talking about in this room. The Bronx was the ladder for her and gave her opportunity and said, we don't care who you are, what your last name is, what you look like, what language you speak. You work hard, you can get somewhere. Maybe a little harder for you, but you work hard, you can get somewhere in this country. And I hope and believe that just what so many of you are doing in this room by helping our Bronx businesses is going to create hundreds and hundreds and hundreds in many different professions of future Sonia Sotomayors who will make the Bronx proud and make America proud. Thank you, God bless you, and have a great afternoon. Thank you.
Okay, that was just like how we rehearsed it, so. So I'm back on cue now. Well, my next speaker is taking shots. All right, so we're going to move on, continue with our program. Our next speaker is Marlene Cintron, and Marlene is the current president of the BOEDC and of the Business Initiative Corporation of New York. So before I bring her up, I'm just going to read a quick bio. Marlene Cintron was born, raised, and educated in the Bronx. In the past 35 years, she has worked for Congressman Robert Garcia, Mayor Dinkins, Governor Pedro Rosello, and New York State Senator Ruben Diaz Sr. In between these government public policy stints, she managed to She managed a $70 million branch for Citibank and brought in and managed a $32 million portfolio as a financial advisor at Merrill Lynch. Mrs. Cintron received her bachelor's degree from SUNY College at Old Westbury, her master's in education administration at Fordham University, and her Juris Doctorate from Georgetown University Law Center in Washington, D.C. As the newly appointed president of the BOEDC and BIG, she has been given the opportunity to combine her government experience and financial expertise into supporting current Bronx businesses as well as attracting new businesses to the borough. Marlene is a proud mother of Renee, age 26, who recently returned from Iraq, and Desiree, age 16, who is currently attending the Bronx High School of Science and was just accepted into Bard College at Simon's Rock. With that, I give you Ms. Marlene Cintron.
Good morning. I assure you that my comments will be shorter than my bio. We're here today to celebrate what is best about the Bronx, and that's everyone that I'm looking at right here. Our businesses, who, big and small, who employ 90% of the residents of the city of New York, and the banks who sustain them and support them and service them every single day. As president of BOEDC and as a former banker, I want to thank you for the job that you do every single day to keep Bronx strong. Today, I'm up here for one thing and one thing only, and that's to say to you that I am here to make your life a little easier. If your business needs can be met in some manner by my office, please call on me. To the banks, I'm also here to challenge you, although you've done a lot to keep us strong, to do even more. I want us to be able to partner more together. Today, we're going to be honoring two banks, TD Bank, Hudson Valley. And what I challenge the other banks to do is to give them a run for their money, so the next year, it's you up here. I look forward to continuing to work with all of you and want to recognize the fact that the Bronx has the most delicioso coco helados in the Bronx. We make the best amazing Jamaican patties and coconut bread. You know, and fact of the matter is that what is done here in the Bronx is not done in any other place in the way that we do it. And so I am delighted and honored and so pleased that Bronx Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr. has given me the opportunity to have this dream job, which is to bring together what's best about the Bronx. And I know that moving forward, we're going to do even more. So let's celebrate Bronx Week together. Do know that if you call me, I will answer. And I look forward to working with each and every one of you moving forward. And now it is my distinct pleasure to present to you someone that I've known for probably a good 15, 20 years, to someone who I've seen develop and grow, to someone who is so committed to the Bronx, and someone that I know that is going to continue to make the Bronx stronger and better because of his commitment to each and every one in this room. Our borough president and my borough president, Ruben Diaz Jr.
Thank you. Good morning once again. Let's give Marlene a strong round of applause for the work that she's been doing this year so far. I just want to thank Marlene and all of the staffers at BOEDC for helping to not only put this event with the BIG and Madeline. Madeline, please stand up and take a bow. Raul, thank you for chairing the BIG, and let's give Raul a strong round of applause also. And I would be remiss if I don't recognize and ask the executive board of BOEDC and its chair, Arthur Richardson. Would the board members please stand up, those of you who are here? Let's give them a strong round of applause. David Aviles, Kathy Zamicheski. Thank you. I don't know if you guys realize this, but this Bankers Breakfast is part of the biggest party that's going on in the city right now. It's called Bronx Week. And during Bronx Week, even though we call it Bronx Week, it's 12 days. And in this 12 days, we're having a wonderful, wonderful time. We started and we kicked it off with the 100th birthday of the Madison Avenue Bridge. We are going to have a number of events for seniors, environmental awareness for our youth, a diva spa. Some of you can join me to get a manicure. I'm not going to get the pedicure. But I will be getting a massage at the Rotunda. And then, of course, many of you are familiar with the Bronx Ball. And for the first time, one of the things that we're doing right before finishing out with our concert is that we're going to have Bronx students, over 80 schools, close to 90 schools have already registered, where they're going to march down Mashula Parkway with pride of their school. It's going to be called I Love My School Day Parade. And that's important because we're going to see how kids, while everyone says that many of our youth are lost, and you see in the media a lot of negativity happening, you can imagine the kids going out there exhibiting school pride and having their school colors and their bands and cheerleaders and their graduates. That's going to be wonderful. So please, please, don't make this event the only event of Bronx Week. Go to www.ilovethebronx.com and try to figure out one of these events that maybe you can see me at, and we could have a good time. So that's important. And I also want to say that with not only the sponsors here today, but during Bronx Week, it's worth recognizing that there are institutions here in the Bronx and throughout the city of New York who can make this all possible. It's not easy to do this. We, of course, need a lot of volunteers and staffers, but we also need financial assistance. And we have Montefiore Medical Center. Let's give them a strong round of applause. Health Plus, let's give them a strong round of applause. And then I'll just read this list very quickly, and then we'll give them all a great round of applause after I'm finished. Con Edison, Affinity Health Plan, Verizon, Emblem Health, the Bronx CUNY Colleges, Lehman College, where I graduated from, Hostos Community College, Bronx Community College, AmeriChoice, Citibank, Domino's Pizza, BronxNet, Arbitron, WBLS, and yes, the Daily News. Let's give them all a strong round of applause. Aside from celebrating our Bronx pride and doing so in a festive way, during these 12 days, we also wanted to make sure that we have substantive debate and conversation and networking so that we can address some of the issues that we're still faced with here in the Bronx. Not only just celebrate our successes, but how that we have a dialogue and a discussion in terms of us moving forward. Just yesterday, there was a forum on the mortgage crisis. Obviously, this is a topic that is being discussed throughout the country, and the Bronx is not immune to individuals who are homeowners who are on the verge of losing their homes or have lost their homes because of the mortgage crisis. And there was a forum last night at the Fordham University. And today we're having this Bankers Breakfast. And of course, we want to honor all of the institutions. But I hope that as we have a great breakfast here today, that you realize that this is more than just having a banker's breakfast. This is about me as the borough president saying thank you to all of the financial institutions, to all of you who have helped us, not only in this last year since I've been the borough president, but over the last 2 or 3 decades. When you look at the borough of the Bronx and the fact that everyone is starting to look at us in a serious light, when you look at the fact that we have been the phoenix who has come out of ruins and the ashes, it is important that while elected officials and former elected officials and not-for-profits get a lot of the credit in the community, it is important for us, for me, to pause this morning and thank you, the financial institutions, because without your support over the last years, the Bronx would not be in the situation that it is today, and I think it's a great situation. So give you all yourselves a strong round of applause for that. I don't know if you really understand what it means to me and what it means to us. Think about this. I am from the generation of that young man and young woman, or young boy or young girl, who played in rubble, who played where there was nothing but bricks and old mattresses and vacant lots. This was the Bronx in the 70s and the 80s. And when you look at the infrastructure of our borough, when you look at the millions of dollars that your institutions have invested in this borough over the last couple of years and over the last decades, I want to thank you personally, because unfortunately at the time, for too many, urban decay was not just the norm, but even worse, urban decay was accepted. And it was horrible. Generations, my generation, was written off. We were not supposed to be accomplished. We were not supposed to have hope in the future. You fast forward now, and this 37-year-old young man who comes from the South Bronx is the 13th borough president of the Bronx, and that's because you invested in the future generation. That's because you invested in individuals like myself, and that's why I want to say thank you this morning to your institution. Now I'm the borough president, and so borough president, what is it that you want to accomplish? And what is it that I want to convey to you here today? I want you to continue to invest in the borough. I want you to continue to work with our BIC and our BOEDC so that we can continue to have not only existing small businesses thrive, but so that we can have individuals who are looking and aspiring to be small business owners have that opportunity. Think about this for a minute. The borough of the Bronx, the county of the Bronx, is a county, and this is something that my partners in government, like Chairman, Assemblyman Carl Heastie, who was introduced by the U.S. Senator. One thing you got to understand about Carl is that Carl also has an MBA from Borough College. So he understands business and he understands the numbers. My partner at Borough Hall, the illustrious, the beautiful Aurelia Green, my deputy borough president. This is something that we wrestle with here. In the county of the Bronx, and when you look at the 62 counties in the state of New York, unfortunately, and we're working on this, and we're enthusiastic, we have a good team, but we're still #1 in unemployment. The second county, now I'm going to go in percentages because, of course, the Bronx is larger than many states in the United States, but the second county is Oswego County in upstate. In order for us as a borough, in order for us just to be #2, not #1 in unemployment, just to get out of #1 and come to #2, and this is where you can be helpful here. We need to create, without Oswego creating one single extra job, here in the Bronx, we need to create 11,400 jobs. 11,400 jobs. So think about this. Sounds like a lot. It sounds like, wow, can we do that? We've come back from the 70s and the 80s. And if you look at your financial institutions, every small business that you invest in, every small business that we help create, whether they create 15 jobs or 20 jobs or even bigger businesses that we can continue to help, this chips away at that 11,400 number. Could you imagine all of us in the next year or two coming back to a breakfast or standing together and say, we all did it together where we're no longer #1 in unemployment in the state of New York? I can see that happening. Hopefully you can see that happening as well. We're at a point here where, yes, you've invested a lot. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it's difficult. But now we need you to be the wing underneath, the wind underneath the wings of that phoenix. Because while the phoenix has risen now, we need to start flying. We need to be not only the county or the borough that's come from ruins to revitalization, but the county that is now leading the nation in the green economy and other businesses here. People need to look at the Bronx and say, how is it that they got it done so that we can do the same thing? I believe that it's doable, and at the same time, and I know it's not in the same topic as small businesses, but understand this for the bankers and the lending institutions. There is a market out there for individuals who want to buy and have home ownership here in the Bronx. Think about this. If we're talking about unemployment rates and trying to get out of #1, There are so many individuals who have jobs and have started their careers and sort of looked at the Bronx as a temporary stop in life. They made it and then they left us. They leave us, and that's a job or that's an employment that's not counted for the county, for this county. If we can afford them the opportunities to own, to invest themselves, that'll create more jobs, but at the same time, it will keep them here in the Bronx so that we can count those individuals as employees or individuals who work in our borough. That would help us a long way. And so today, I hope that while we continue to enjoy our breakfast, that this becomes part of a larger conversation. And I want to thank each and every one of you. And I hope that you can understand that I'm a little long-winded this morning, but I'm excited. I'm excited to be the borough president. I'm excited about this opportunity that we've all been given. I'm excited about the times. I'm excited about the fact that our senior U.S. Senator is here and understands fully well that he has a task, that he has a responsibility as well to help us in this endeavor. And so we also have a young man who has made a name for himself, who's with us here today and is our keynote speaker. And let me just tell you a little bit about him. In April of this year, the U.S. Small Business Administration announced the appointment of Jorge Silva Puras. I like that, Jorge Silva Puras, as the regional administrator in Region 2 to oversee the SBA's programs and services in New York, New Jersey, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. The Region 2 office is located here in New York City. Silva Pura, who has ample management, legal, marketing, financial, and government experience, is currently president of Interactiva. Interactiva. Así dice en español. Así mismito. A management consulting firm that focuses on identifying new markets and merger opportunities for small and medium-sized businesses, as well as funding and giving incentive opportunities for public and private entities. Previously, he served as the Chief of Staff of the Governor of Puerto Rico, Executive Director of the Puerto Rican Office of Industrial Development Company. He was President of the Economic Development Bank for Puerto Rico, and as Puerto Rico's Secretary of Economic Development and he was Secretary of Puerto Rico's Economic and Development Commerce. Previous to his government roles, Mr. Silva Puras worked for the Procter & Gamble Company at its corporate headquarters in Cincinnati and at its San Juan office, where he managed marketing efforts for the U.S., Hispanic, and Caribbean regions. He also has a lot of experience in banking and law. During his tenure as Secretary of Economic Development, Mr. Silva Pura served as Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Puerto Rican Industrial Development Company, the Puerto Rican Tourism Company, the Puerto Rican Commerce and Trade Company, and Puerto Rican Science and Technology Trust, among several other boards. You a busy guy. And with all of that, ladies and gentlemen, he is here with us today, celebrating our Bankers Breakfast, adding on to our Bronx Week. Please help me welcome, let's give a strong round of applause to our keynote speaker, Mr. Jorge Silva Puras.
Thank you, Ruben. Gracias. Good morning to everyone. Buenos dias. It's a pleasure to be here, and I really have a very tough act to follow with Ruben and Senator Schumer, of course. It's a real pleasure to be here. First of all, because it's my first public speaking engagement since I was named the regional administrator for Region 2. And I'm very proud to say it's in the Bronx that I'm starting my career in federal government. I've been on the job for 7 days, so I spent all of last week in Chicago, this week in upstate New York. Had the honor and privilege of being with our president yesterday in Buffalo. He was actually speaking at a small business in Buffalo, a small business that benefited from the Recovery Act funding. And as usual, he was superb. And he communicated some of what I want to share with you this morning. And let me put my glasses. My age is starting to affect. I sincerely hope that this is the first of many visits that I will do to the Bronx, that I will see you all many, many times that I will not only build new friendships and partnerships, but also and strengthen those friendships that I already have here. And before I proceed, I do want to recognize a very dear friend who recently moved here. His name is Dr. Felix Matos. We know him as Felo. Felo, are you there? Please stand up. Felo is a dear colleague and friend. We work together in the administration, state government administration. And he's now the president of the Ostos Community College. So we are very proud to have him here in the Bronx. So thank you very much, Felo, for that commitment. Let me tell you, I've been on the job, as I said, for 7 days. And I already can tell that we still face difficult challenges. It's not, we have not recouped yet to the extent that we can and will. But I also see dramatic opportunities. And I see dramatic opportunities right here in the Bronx. And I will tell you what. I want to share with you today what we have done so far, what we have done to get out of this recession. But as the president said yesterday, the economists might say that the recession is over. But unless and until every one of those unemployed who are out there looking for a job and cannot find a job, it's still very much a recession for them. And we need to act. We need to act with urgency. And we have a very high unemployment rate in the Bronx, and we need to act forcefully to lower that. I believe it's 16.2%. And as Ruben said, we are going to do whatever it takes to make sure that rate lowers. And our hope, my goal, my objective is that we will get to single digits, and we will get to single digits soon, because we need it as a country. So I want to share with you the progress we have made so far and our proposals for the near future. Because we jointly seek the same goal, to have a vibrant business community in the Bronx, in New York City, in the U.S. and its territories. First, I want to share with you some of my first impressions on the job. From my initial visits with lenders, with SBA resource partners, which include SBDCs, Women Business Centers, SCORE, Chambers of Commerce, incubators, and with the SBA district offices throughout the entire region. I already get the distinct knowledge and impression that we have the mechanisms that will allow us to jointly do what it takes to see small business develop and prosper. And most importantly, come out of this recession not only stronger, but better equipped to deal with adversity. We were talking yesterday. What is that we can learn from this process? And I think there are many, many opportunities to learn and to actually become stronger. That's one thing that I have seen in my brief period as a regional administrator. Businesses that learn to survive even under the most pressing circumstances. And I think that's good. I think that's helpful for businesses. These have certainly been challenging years, but they have taught us important lessons. Lessons that will make us better businessmen and women, better lenders, and better partners. I also want to thank all of you for your hard work and commitment to the small business community. As lenders who underwrite billions of dollars in SBA loans every year. Together, we're helping America's small businesses keep their doors open while growing and creating jobs. And this is important work because more than half, you might not know this, more than half of working Americans either own or work for a small business. 64% of new jobs over the past 15 years were created by a small business. You already know this because, of course, you are often the ones that make it happen. And you know what a great feeling it is to give a loan that allows a small business to buy a new building or to hire another employee. Now, let's talk about why we are here. As you know, it's been a tough year. It's been a tough couple of years for small businesses, for the entire nation, but particularly for small businesses. In October of 2008, as you well know, credit markets froze and small businesses couldn't get the capital that they needed to survive. Then, over a year ago, the Recovery Act passed and SBA stepped up to the plate. We increased our guarantee to 90% in 7A loans. We reduced or eliminated fees in both the 7A and 504 programs, our top two programs. And I believe, I understand, and I want to confirm with all of you that that has indeed been a very successful way to jumpstart the SBA lending again. You have been putting us to work. Our average weekly loan volume has been climbing. Today, it's up 126% compared to January in the New York district office. In the Bronx, right here. The weekly average compared to January has increased by 239%. I think that really merits a round of applause to all of you. 239% increase. You have helped not only save, but also create hundreds of thousands of jobs, including for rural, minority-owned, women-owned, and veteran-owned small businesses. And thanks to the BIC's commitment to the Bronx small business community, its loan production for the first 7 months of fiscal 2010 has increased by 84%. Loan volume has increased by 67% compared to last fiscal year. I'll just share one quick story. The business name is Astoria Espresso and Cappuccino Machine Corporation. It's a wholesale distributor and manufacturer of espresso coffee and commercial coffee equipment. It was started in 1975, and the company is owned and operated by two brothers, Vito and Joseph Panobianco. They're here? Mr. Panobianco, please stand up. Give Mr. Panobianco a round of applause. And let me tell you a little bit, thank you for being here. Let me tell you a little bit about the story of the Panobianco brothers. They emigrated from Italy to the US. And just a few months ago, the SBA approved a 504 loan for them to move to a new building right here in the Bronx. The BIC, the SBA, and Hudson Valley all partnered together to help the Panobianco brothers expand their business. Through the Recovery Act fee elimination, the brothers saved a little over $28,000. And the company is expected to create 15 new jobs. That's what this partnership is all about. Congratulations again. Today, SBA loans have never played a more crucial role in filling the credit gaps we see. In other words, small businesses need us to work together more than ever. So, why should you partner with the SBA? And if you're already partnered, why should you become even more active in that partnership? I can give you 3 good reasons. First, we have made it easier than ever to sign up. We decentralized the sign-up process to our field offices. There's at least 1 in every state. We're lucky in New York. We have 3. You can actually talk to a real person who can walk you through the process quickly. Then they can help train your people on how to do SBA loans. In the Bronx, our New York District Director, Pravina Raghavan. Please stand up, Pravina. Where are you? And her staff, please, the entire SBA staff, if you could please stand up and give a round of applause. They have worked very, very, very hard in the last year and a half. They're here to help you. After the breakfast, I believe we're going to have some time to talk it over, and please, I encourage you to meet all of them. Second, we're committing to honoring our guarantees and doing it in a timely and predictable way. Today, we honor over 95% of guarantees and requested purchase dollars. In addition, we have reduced the average time to process these packages from several months to less than 30 days. We want to drive it down even further. Overall, the SBA goal is for each of you to feel completely confident every step of the way, from origination to servicing to purchasing if necessary. Third, we are looking for more ways to streamline and simplify. A few years ago, we reduced the paperwork. The old 45-tab system is now a 10-tab system. More recently, we formed a simplicity task force. They're finding new ways to make our programs and our process more user-friendly, both for you and your borrowers. And over the past year, there are many more reasons that banks are signing up and increasing SBA loans. Our guarantees are helping mitigate your risk. You're getting liquidity by selling SBA guaranteed portion in the secondary market. You're cross-marketing SBA loans with your own products like business checking. This partnership works for the SBA. It works for an increasing number of banks, and most importantly, we know it is working for entrepreneurs and small business owners. And my commitment is that we are working harder every day to be the best partner we can be. But today, even today, we know that there's still gaps in credit. We have to fix that, and we want to make sure that good and viable small businesses are getting the loans they need to get the economy moving again. That's why President Obama has rolled out a small business jobs plan that is now before Congress. In crafting this plan, the SBA analyzed the gaps in the lending market. Then we constructed targeted proposals that address the most critical problems. As a result, the plan has 4 key components that I want to share with you. First, for those of you with capital but still having trouble with risk, we want to extend the 90% guarantee and the reduced fees I talked about earlier. I think that's critical. We know you have got good borrowers, so we want to fill the market gap that still exists. We hope the provisions will be extended after the end of this month. Obviously, you know, this is an act of Congress. So to the extent that you can, put the pressure on your congressmen, on your congresswomen, on your representatives. We should and we need to extend those provisions. Secondly, some small businesses need bigger SBA loans to create more jobs, including franchisees, manufacturers, and exporters. We have proposed a permanent increase from the $2 million cap to $5 million for the loan limits on 7A and 504 programs. So there's no reason why we cannot work together to meet the demand that already exists for these bigger loans. Third, for businesses that can't find access to working capital, we can temporarily raise our express loan limit from $350,000 to $1 million. Guess what? You can use your own paperwork for express loans, and SBA can turn around in just a few days. This will help businesses restock shelves, fill orders, and regain traction. Fourth, we need to address commercial real estate values that have dropped for many owner-occupied small businesses. If their mortgages are coming up for refinancing and they have been paying their bills, we want to help them avoid unnecessary foreclosure. So we propose temporarily opening up 504 to refinancing. That will allow small firms to lock in stable, long-term financing while freeing you up to make even more loans. These components each meet a need and fill a gap. And perhaps most importantly, they have driven by principles of good governance. They build on programs that already work rather than creating new bureaucracies. They maximize limited taxpayer dollars, many with little or no subsidy. And they can be implemented quickly and effectively to fill these credit gaps. SBA is looking forward to working with Congress to refine this plan. And we're looking forward to working with you to put these tools in the hands of small business. I cannot underestimate the importance of growing our partnership. Today, the people in this room know more than anyone else that our small business communities are ready to lead once again. They have got a centuries-long track record of doing just that. I want to thank all of you who have partnered with SBA for decades. I welcome all of you who are coming on board, because together I know we can give entrepreneurs and small business owners the tools they need to create the jobs America needs. Thank you so very much. Muchas gracias. Buenos días.
hold on. Let me. Let's give it up for Jorge Silva Puras once again. You know, ladies and gentlemen, he mentions Astoria coffee and cappuccino machines. They're gonna have their location in Zariga and Hudson Valley Bank. The fact that we're creating 15 jobs, so we have 11,385 to go. I do want to present you, and we thank you for this being your first public engagement here in the Bronx, since you've had your this new position. And so that you don't forget us, I want to present you with this Bronx Afghan, so you can hang it up in your office.
Oh my God! Step out from behind the podium. Right here. Sure. Beautiful.
Raúl. We have somebody fold it for you.
Ok, perfecto. Va a ser lo primero que voy a hablar.
Can I get a picture in there? Just so I gotta move the phone. I'll get them later. You're giving up the citations, so this is the list. And the people on the side, okay?
Okay, so I just want to give out some citations here for our Bankers Breakfast and our sponsors. We would like you to come up as quickly as possible. We have our diamond sponsor, TD Bank, Sigfredo Rivera. Are we all taking a photo together? Are we?
Yes. Wait, let's do all of them at the same time.
Okay, so yeah.
Okay. Stand to the side.
We're gonna name everybody and then we'll take something.
Yes.
From our platinum sponsors, Capital One Bank, Carlina Ferrell. What we'll do is we'll take all the photos. From Citibank, Ed Odom. Thank you, Mr. Odom. HSBC Bank, Sean Schoenfeld. Did I pronounce your last name right, Sean? How do you pronounce it? Sean. That was close. From NYBDC Bank, we have Pat McCrell. Of course, our Emerald sponsors. There you go, Mr. McCrell. Thank you. Oh, Kevin Leo. Our Emerald sponsors, we have Right Check, Joseph Coleman. Thank you. Thank you. And from Davis Check Cashing, Ira Krell. Where's Ira Krell? Ladies and gentlemen, please give our sponsors a strong round of applause. Thank you.
Sorry, I keep hitting you.
We're almost done. Let me just tell you that when I came in February, a lot of people on my staff were nervous. They needed to be nervous. But it's been a total delight to see the kind of hard work, dedication, professionalism that I encountered at BOADC. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm satisfied. What it means is that we have an opportunity to bring this to another level. Now, in that mix of people that were nervous was Madeline Marquez, who of course is the executive director of BIC. And in her, I found someone who dots the I's and crosses the T's, someone who understands the plight of small businesses, someone who knows banking much better than I ever will, and also someone who really and truly works very well with SBA. And so I am pleased and delighted that Madeline works as the executive director of BIC. And I'm still challenging her, to do even bigger and better as I'm doing to the banks. But it is my extreme honor. And I want to say thank you, Madeline, for an amazing breakfast, for an exciting morning. To present to you, Madeline Marquez, executive director of BIC.
Good morning. Every year I start organizing and thinking about how this event is going to work out and what's going to happen, and it gives me a great pleasure every year to welcome you to mi casa. Mi casa could be here at Villa Barón or any other place, but thank you all for coming and supporting us. While we were talking about a lot of the programs that SBA has, we are an SBA 504 lender. And we are a tiny SBA 504 lender in comparison, but I would like for you to share, and I would like to share with you some of our numbers. Basically, we've done about $28 million in loans. This is just our portion, okay? But with that small portion, thank you, we've managed to leverage $75 million. Now, if you take a look at that, I can't lend a loan. You all know that I can't lend a loan. So combined, in partnership, we've managed to leverage $75 million. And I think that's pretty good for a little tiny lender, okay? From the Bronx. Basically, out of all the 12 years that I've been out here trying to work with businesses and working with the banking community, I've had a special person in my life that really has not had any idea what their mother do. But for the first time in organizing this event, he happens to be here in this room with us today, and I will really be honored to introduce to you my son, Jedediah Marquez, which is right there. So Jedi, please stand. My role here this morning is to announce who's going to receive our Terrence L. Martin Lenders Award. And Terry was a founding member of BIC that passed away many years ago, so we named the award after him. And it's given to the bank that did the most business with us and the most loans with us this year, so a certain time period that we cover. And this year, it just so happens to be TD Bank. So I would like for Mr. Jeff Duggar to please come up and receive your award.
Well, thank you very much for this honor and this award. It means a lot to us at TD Bank, but I can say that we continue to be committed to working with BIC and committed to the small businesses in the Bronx. So we look forward to a great 2010. Thank you.
Right here, please. 1, 2, 3, Bronx time. Look this way, please.
Thank you. We also, for the first time this year, last year, Jessica, where are you? Okay, we had a wonderful chairman of our marketing committee that, to be honest with you, he decided 12 years ago to create this Banker's Breakfast theme, and he helped me from the very beginning. We also lost Mr. Charles Johnson, and we've decided this year for the first time to create and give out the Charles R. Johnson Marketing Award. It's we added it this year, and it just so happens that that award this year goes to the one and only, the second bank that provided us with a lot of loans this year, Hudson Valley, and Mr. Anthony Mama, could you please come and get your award?
Very quick. I'd just like to say thank you on behalf of, first of all, the borough president for all the work he's been doing in the Bronx, for the BIC board, the BOEDC board, and just a few people I'd like to thank in the audience, because without them I couldn't do this. This is my family. This is a second home for me. I've been down in the Bronx for about 20 years now. I'd like to thank Sandra Erickson for all our support here. Jose Perez and Radame Perez and Charlie Mastermind for their support. Lenny Carroll from the Bronx Chamber of Commerce. Kathy Zemenchensky and Seraphine Marielle. And of course, most important, our clients like Joe Pine and Bianco. Thank you.
Be careful, it's a two-piece.
We don't want it to fall. Come in.
And like each other. And like each other. Yes.
Right up here. Right up here, right in the center.
Jessica. This one? Will Jessica and Charles Johnson Jr., if you're here, please come up here a second. This award is in your father's honor. Jessica. Okay, thank you. No, stay there with me. I'm doing it a little different this year. Okay? Well, in closing, ladies and gentlemen, if I may have your attention, please, guys. All right? We want to thank all the partners that refer projects to BIC for referring them to us. We want to thank all the clients that we have that come to BIC with their dreams. You'll be surprised how many phone calls I receive with people wanting to do things. We want to thank the directors of the BIC and BOEDC for supporting those dreams. We want to thank the SBA, okay, for allowing BIC to produce and allow those dreams, all right? And all we want to do also is to thank the banking community for allowing us to lend together with you. I want to thank the BIC staff, the BOEDC staff as well, and the Bronx Borough President's Office for allowing me and helping me to produce this event. And we will look forward in the coming weeks to calling you. We want to set up some meetings so that we can take this further. We would like to talk about how the 5-4 program can help us grow and create the much-needed jobs that we need. Please have a wonderful and safe summer. Thank you all for supporting the Business Corporation of New York.